pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the purpose of our meeting today is to hear LSIC reports from Mount Nebo, Birch River, Summersville Elementary, Mount Lookout Elementary, Zela Elementary, Summersville Middle School. So at this time, it is Mount Nebo.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, so Mount Nebo Elementary School educates students for success in life. Our LSIC members are Lou Yance, Michelle Anderson, and Billy Cockrum. Those are our staff members. Brianna Roberts and Myra Moore are parents here, and myself. Information was reviewed on November 4th and 19th. Our meetings didn't get started until late. And then the meetings will start taking place monthly, starting after the Christmas sprint. We have 3 goals this year on our strategic plan. One is for reading and math achievement. We want to increase proficiency in both math and reading by 60%, as measured by 60%, sorry. And then our second goal is attendance. We've been working really hard on attendance, getting our students here, and we want to reduce our chronically absent students so that we're down under 10%, and we've been meeting that so far. Goal 3 is parent and community involvement. We want to improve our communication between school parents and community members, and we want to increase by 10% as measured by the school survey at the end of the school year. And we've been working really hard on that. We're going to start trying to get business partnerships with the school here soon during Christmas break to work with getting some of our window curves for the school for safety so that people can't see in, and some other things that we need to have that are a little bit more expensive. The needs assessment, some of our root causes of current issues at Mount Nebo stem from the number of students from economically disadvantaged families. We have a lot of students that are in foster families as well, and a lot that are living with grandparents. Strategies and practices that are being planned include a training for parents and grandparents of students to help students be successful. And strategies and practices that we wish to continue are the parent coordinator position, which we are working on getting. We've had 3 that have applied and then quit right before it went to the board. So we are still trying to get that position filled. We have parent volunteers right now, read aloud volunteers. We have our counselor coming from Hampton, and our counselor from the district, and then our social worker, and we're still working on getting an interventionist as well. We have lots of positives going on. The kids are feeling more secure, happy. The culture of the school has changed a lot since the beginning of the year. You can see their faces are happy. Everybody's welcoming, and you can see that in the kids. The ELA WVGSA for 23-24 for third grade. This is the results that are summarized. So you can see the state, Nicholas County, and Mount Nebo. We're still low on informational text. So these are our fourth graders this year. Ms. Weaver is working on that this year. But overall, their averages were 90%. Fourth grade, which are the fifth graders this year, they were at 50% overall, and they're working on all of these areas this year. And as we go into the IXL scores, you'll see that they've increased in a lot of these skills. And then these are the fifth graders that went on to sixth grade. For math, they've got third grade has an overall of 90%. Fourth grade had an overall of 75%. And fifth grade had an overall of 82%. And then this was overall for this grade, GSA, for third grade. Fourth grade, and you have this in your packet. And fifth grade. The annual ELA goal targets for 2025 is 55%, and we are making our way there. As of last year, most of our scores were about that. For math, it is 59.22%. Our balanced scorecard and attendance, we're still a little low there, but we're working on that this year really hard. What's coming up next is we're working on reading literary text and reading informational text and the strategies for those in the classrooms. And areas of improvement for math is measurement, data, and geometry, operations and algebraic thinking, and modeling and problem solving. Moving at IXL data, we have increased averages from the beginning of the year until now. You can see the math increased averages. First grade is ahead right now with 94 points as an average increase. So most of our classes are doing really well. They're way above average. And ELA is the same. Fifth grade has 101 as an increase, which was really nice to see. ELA, we have the beginning of the year till now. You can see there's a lot less yellow and some shifting here. Reading strategies. So they're working hard at getting those reading strategies. Vocabulary. So they are working really hard in each section of this. Writing, even our kindergartners have moved to writing now. Grammar and mechanics. Percentile rank versus with national norms. We have 85 students, 79% above the national average right now. This is our math. lost all that red, and we're shifting. Still working really hard on that. Algebraic thinking. Strategies that they're working on in the classrooms are number talks. We're working on attendance incentives, Haggerty, secret stories, small group instruction, intentional standards-based instruction, standards-based walkthroughs, differentiation in all grades with incorporation of special education, read aloud program, hurt words, measurement minutes, and Alex program. All the professional development that we've worked on this year so far. And our average daily attendance, enrollment, and chronically absent. From the first month, we have decreased to 4.3 and 5.1%. And then these are the different activities and the culture of the building that we've been working on. And that was the community business partnerships that I was talking about. And that's it. Questions?
So I know you're working on the chronically absent.
Yes.
What are you doing with that?
Right now we are doing incentives, so the kids earn tickets when they're here. And the tickets are for good behavior and attendance. And then they get to turn those in for the book vending machine that you saw as you walked in. Once they have 10 tickets, they can turn that in for a token to go to the book vending machine. Or they can put it in a bucket in the office for a drawing during our monthly assembly, where they can get a prize or something else, something with the principal, or another prize. Anybody who's been here for the month consecutively gets to go out for a monthly reward, like extra recess or something like that. They get to do maybe an art activity. So we're trying to make it funner to be here all the time. And you can see that with the kids, that they're starting to realize that it's fun to be here rather than at home. So trying to bring those incentives back into the school.
I noticed your fourth grade scores last year, they were good, but they were not where it's some of the
Yes.
third graders. And I noticed with your IXL, they would serve a lot of growth.
Yes.
What did you attribute that growth to?
I would say that the teachers specifically looking at the skills that we need to look at for that growth. We've been doing professional learning communities during the day, one time a month, where I meet with the teachers, K1, and then I do 2, 3, and then 4, 5. And we come in and we look at all the scores, and we look at what is lowest, and then we talk about how we can work on those skills to bring those up with the 2 teachers and myself, and try to help each other.
You're basically targeting the weaknesses they have.
Yeah. Any other questions? Haggerty is a phonological awareness program where the teachers do that with the kids. So it's different, breaking words down, putting them together. It's a really good program where the kids are actually understanding what they're doing. Whereas some programs don't put it together as well as what Haggerty does. It's a curriculum program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have Birch River.
Board members, Mr. Bean, Mrs. Weitzel, good morning. Now, I'm going to, just for one moment, treat you like you're my students. I'm Dinosaur and I have the handout. So I'm going to go as far as, so I would like for you not to read this while I'm discussing. Okay, you think we can do that? So just to ensure, I'll just turn it down. That way you won't look at it.
Tell them you're not to work.
But you have a copy of what I'm going to say, and then this just gives you a little bit more. And I am giving you this script because the last time I did an LSIC meeting, some of you remember, I went over by just a little bit, because everybody said we only have 2 or 3 minutes to talk. And it ended up being, about a couple hours, and they just shut us down, which was pretty embarrassing, so it's not going to happen this time. Okay, I'm hoping. So, Birch River is currently focusing on 4 areas, okay? And we're focusing on our strategic plan. Goal, the first goal is to show growth and progress on our IXL in reading and math, and also in science. In science, we're using Generation Genius, and that supports our science curriculum, and the teachers like that very well. Our second strategic goal is to improve our daily attendance, and I'm going to tell you in just a few that our daily attendance so far, to this point today, is awesome. Tomorrow, we will know where we are during the 4th month of school, so we track that very closely. Excuse me. Third, we are really working very hard to create a culture and a climate that is very conducive to learning. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And then we're providing opportunities for our parents and our community to get involved in the school because we feel that it's absolutely important. There's got to be a connect with all of that. And then lastly, I'd like to just talk for just a minute about our after-school program. Our after-school program currently serves 21 students, which is about 1/3 of our population, because we have about 66 students at the school. First of all, on to the testing. We spend about 30 minutes a day, or we do spend 30 minutes a day on IXL reading and math. And we feel that that does reinforce the core concepts, and then using the Generation Genius, that helps us with our science score. Because I think last year, Birch River Elementary, thanks to Mrs. Young, they had the highest science scores in the county. So we definitely have to make sure that we have to meet that mark. So we do realize that the growth on the IXL is a reflection of the fact that they make consistent effort and they have focused practice and personalized learning. So IXL, we feel, is very effective in those areas, and it has to be consistent. The teachers were all directing students at that time to focus on their lowest areas of percentages. So when they go into the diagnostic testing, they are looking at lowest areas of performance, and the teachers are directing them there and consistently having the students to focus on the activities that they see on the screen. The IXL program is tailored to meet the individual needs of students, and I like it because of the fact that the students get immediate feedback. As they watch their scores increase, their growth increases, I think these students are gaining confidence in their skills and what they can do, and they feel better about themselves because they are succeeding. We have 2 interventionists at the school. They provide assistance to the school daily. They are full. They probably could not take another student in there in terms of squeezing them into their space, but I'm sure they would if I asked them to. So those 2 interventionists work 17.5 hours a week, providing that tutoring for our students. Then every Wednesday, we offer the students the opportunity to attend a 2-hour session from 2:30 to 4:30, and it helps them with their math homework, or English homework. If they're behind in any homework for the teacher, they're welcome to come. And we also, at that time, provide some social, emotional skills for our students. And what we do is if they stay for the 2 hours after school on Wednesdays, then they just eat with our after-school program. So they take advantage of that, we have the opportunity to eat, and we do have students who do that. So we are working very hard to at least maintain or get our scores up on our end-of-the-year assessment. Now, whenever you get my principal's report, on Monday, all of that data will be on there, because that's where I've been putting that data. So you will be able to see that. Our newsletter goes out today. I'm not there. You'll get a copy of the newsletter on Monday, whenever I give you that report. The second thing that we're working on is school attendance. And guys, I can't help it. I'm just going to brag and brag and brag. Let me tell you, school attendance, I'm very happy with it, because we are currently exceeding the strategic plan goal that was to increase faithful attendance, which I consider to be 3 days or less, to 50% of our students. We put daily emphasis on 9 days or less for school success. We have a meeting every morning of the entire student body. I think that was a great idea, Laura. It's so nice to get together with all your students and all your staff. We sing the ABC song. We have a few announcements. I give out glow notes, give out a lot of praise to students, a lot of praise to teachers. We love it. It's a good time for us all to get together before we start our day and recognize a lot of successes. Our attendance, we realize, I think that attendance is has a lot to do with success in the school, because your students are always there for lessons. There's not much makeup work or homework, because students are at school and they get to interact with teachers and students, and I think that interaction truly fosters learning and social growth too. Excellent attendance also promotes good habits of being responsible, managing your time wisely. Of the 13 schools in Nicholas County, the first month of school, out of 13 schools, we were 8th in attendance. The second month and the third month of school, we were 1st in attendance. I am proud of that. Proud, proud, proud of that. And I can't gloat enough, and I gloat to everybody and anybody who'll listen. I'm very proud of that. Yesterday, I was sad. I got my first notification from Mike Williams that we had a student who is chronically absent. The student is in pre-K. I can't do anything with pre-K in terms of contacting that parent, encouraging to bring the student to school. But I do it. Whenever they bring this child in, I just kind of say, you know, how's your daughter doing today? I'm glad to see she's here at school. I try to do it subtly, but I can't go down and talk to the class about that attendance. But we have no other student in our school who currently has missed over 5 days. We have no chronic attendance problems. None. Zip, zero, nada, none. And I'm excited for the report to come out tomorrow from Mr. Williams to see where we stand in terms of attendance. And we've got our fingers crossed, because we work on it every day. Every morning when we have our general meeting, we are looking at the students saying, glad you're here, so glad you came to spend the day with us. We're going to have a good day. We do that every single day. The kids hear that all the time. Now, why do I think that attendance has picked up and we don't have any chronic absences, anybody with chronic attendance problems? Is because we are working very hard to try to create a culture and a climate that is positive as it can be. And we do that every single day. We want our students to feel like they are safe, they are valued, and they are motivated to learn. And we all, every teacher at that school, we love our students. We love our school. And we think our kids love us too. They tell us, we love school. What are we doing tomorrow? We are really working on trying to create that kind of a culture. In the mornings when we meet and I give out glow notes, I'll look at the students and say, what's my favorite word? Kindness. We got to be kind to everybody. I said, absolutely. Don't be unkind. What's my next word? Respectful. You got to be respectful to your teachers. You got to be respectful to your cooks, your custodians, and each other. And accept differences. Don't sit there and dwell on differences. Accept it. So we really are trying to promote that. And we are all on board with that. So I feel like the kids, I'm a hugger. I don't know if there's one kid in that school I haven't hugged. I don't know, nobody's called and complained yet, but I'm old school. I hug, kids come up and hug me. They get off the bus in the morning, they hug the teachers who are there. We're real huggy people, okay? So we are trying very diligently to model positive interactions with our students. And I think it definitely makes a difference. We feel like we're a family, and we have a nurturing, very supportive atmosphere. And I think if you came down and visited us, you would be able to see that. Our kids love being at school. We have kids, they tell us, we love school. We had 2 students who came back on the first day of school, and to their teacher, they came in crying. And the teacher was asking, what is wrong? They said, we missed school so bad last week. We're just so happy to be back. So we're just crying because we're happy to be in school. I like hearing that. I like hearing that. We're truly trying to promote a positive culture. And so everybody, I feel like, has a sense of belonging. We're confident in what we're doing, and I feel like we're really a family, and we're striving to support each other. So I like that culture and climate piece. When I was younger as a principal, I didn't really think about that as much as I am right now, because I always thought, well, you got testing, you got this. You don't worry about culture and climate. But I am convinced at this age, culture and climate will get you a lot of things. It will produce a lot of good in your school. The 4th thing that we're really working on is our parental and community involvement. And we feel it's important. Parents have to come in. Student achievement and your learning has to be connected. And the only way you can connect that is by bringing in your parents, letting your community come in and help you. So we have provided numerous activities to support that. The main office, when you walk in the front door, the main office is always open. You can always go in, Sandy will be there. And my office is open all the time. All the time. Teachers, you walk in, if I'm in a classroom or something, Sandy will get me, I will be right there. Parents can come anytime they want to. I've stayed after school to meet with parents. So they know they are more than welcome to come in and talk anytime they want to. Parents contact teachers on Dojo, Facebook, and they arrange meetings after school. Parents come in after school, it might be 10 o'clock, the teacher might be waiting on a parent. So we make sure that we are accessible for our parents and our community. We have volunteers. We have a lot of community helping us with our Christmas this year. It's amazing how many people are giving us money to buy gifts for these students to ensure that they all have something to take home. And it's really exciting. And it's amazing if you can invite a few in and they can get, you can kind of get them on your side in terms of where you are with what you're thinking. They can provide a lot more support than you think. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have a parent from time to time that it's a little difficult. It's a little bit more difficult to deal with. But you just have to gingerly try to get around that. And I feel like we've probably done that at this point. So all of us working together, we want to create a network that helps our kids to thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. And that's what we're about. Lastly, am I under my time?
I haven't been time.
Anybody keeping time?
You have about 2 minutes.
Lastly, our after-school program. Our after-school program, we depend on it so much. Every Tuesday, for 45 minutes, students complete STEM expeditions virtually. They're working on honeybee investigations in 3, 4, and 5. And K and 2 are working on agriculture, cooking, watching chef programs and stuff like that, loving it. They get literature, they get 30 minutes of math, and they get an hour in reading. And again, every Wednesday, we provide them with the extra math help, the extra English help, the social emotional help. All of these projects simply support our school. And tomorrow, we are having our State Department monitor is coming in tomorrow. So, the way I see it, we continue to strive to produce students who are confident in their academic skills and in their social skills and in their emotional skills. We want to prepare them to be successful when they come on up to the high school and the junior high school. So we're trying to get them ready for you, and hopefully this will transfer over and they'll be successful in life. So hopefully everything that we are trying to do is going to produce young adults who want to be productive, caring, respectful, responsible, and loving members of our society. Thank you.
Pat?
Oh, sorry, yes. Sorry.
How do you staff your, I guess it's your 2:30 to 4:30, once your after school program? You said you had an opportunity
Yes.
to come in and catch up. How do you staff that?
I do it.
I just want to,
Just part of my job.
I will say that one of the most successful corporations in the world, Walmart, does that morning shift. I guess it's still doing it. They did when I read the book, but they have the team leaders, and even if it's only 5 minutes, to go ahead and set the tone for the day.
Yes, that is so critical. And like I said, Laura started that at Birch River. I've never seen it in another school, but I'm going to say this. Kudos to Laura, because that is phenomenal. That is absolutely positive, phenomenal. If every school, if you start in the morning and you have all your staff and all your students, and you have what you follow, you do the alphabet song, you do the Pledge of Allegiance, then I have announcements. I give out blow notes, praise notes, teachers. I have purple praise notes. Call the student up, praise the student, give them a golden coin, they get a book. I give out books every single day. Every single day. And I set the tone, and the teachers, we set the tone. Do your best today, make sure you listen to your teachers. Be kind, respectful, they can tell you. Be kind, be respectful. Listen to your teachers. They know that. You set the tone, everybody's positive, you're upbeat, the kids go on about their way. It's a phenomenal idea, and if I were in the system, young and starting, I would definitely do that, because it is really, really awesome. Thank you, Laura, for that idea.
What time do you do that?
We do that at 7:30. The kids get off the bus, I open the door, I do bus duty. Open the door at 10 after 7. The kids go in, they get their breakfast. They go down to the multi-purpose room, and they sit and they eat. At 7:30, when everybody is there, then I go down and simply say, "Good morning, children." And that's when we start. It takes about 10. Some days it'll take about 5 or 10 minutes. Some days, if I have a lot of low notes, it might take 15. But it is definitely an awesome way to start school. Awesome.
And even if you had a larger school instead of 60 kids, you would break those out in teams and leaders and still have that. I would see an issue if you started getting up to 100, 100.
Well, I think if you have an area to put them in, I think it's better if you just put them all together. Because I think you've left no one out, and they get to hear from the leader. And they have support from the teachers, and I don't know how you would do that at a high school level. But I definitely think elementary can do it, and I'm not so sure how you would do it at junior high. I don't know, I might try it and just put them in the auditorium or something and try it. But it really, really makes a difference at the elementary level. I really believe that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You may now look at your hand up.
I was tempted to grab it two or three times, but I figured to smack my fingers if I did, so I did.
Next, we have Somerville Elementary.
Look at it.
Slick out there.
Look at it instead of me. You're welcome. What is it?
All right, my name is Lori Young, I'm from Summersville Elementary. I want to thank you guys for having me. So our Summersville Elementary core beliefs are that the students can be successful in life through the collective efforts of students, staff, family, parents, and community. The mission statement is students' success in life begins at SES. Our balanced scorecard, you can see the check marks down there. There's a lot of red, which is not going to provide it, but the check marks mean that we have met our goals for that year. If you look at the enrollment, we were at 347 students last year on our overall enrollment. This was the actual comparisons from WEBIS that I pulled up. Last year, our enrollment was 369 in October, and this year for our October enrollment, we're at 331. Currently enrolled in Summersville Elementary, we have 331 students, 65 in pre-K, 40 in kindergarten, 46 in first grade, 42 in second grade, 47 in third grade, 52 in fourth grade, and 39 in fifth grade. So moving on to academics. This is a chronological state assessment overview of where we were from 2020 and 2021 clear to last year. You can see, of course, this was COVID, but you can see the gradual incline over the last 4 years at Summersville Elementary School. The blue is ELA, the yellow is math, and the red is science. This was the state assessment proficiency rate by grades last year in math. You can see we've got a lot of yellow, but the red is fairly, 22%, 18%, and third grade was the highest red, which was 25% in math. That does not meet standard. I think you can do a lot with that yellow area. If you start looking at that mid-year and push it, but this was last year's. So, but I think that's pretty good numbers to build on. Then this is ELA. The fourth grade ELA has the highest percentage of red, so that's our current fifth graders. Third grade, 27%, and fifth grade, 22%. So we had higher in green and blue. You can see that, and my current data is going to mirror this. But also we got higher in red in ELA, which is, it shows that the difference. You've got more that are green and blue in ELA, but you've also got more in red than math. Science last year, again, you've got that lower percentage in red, you've got a lot of yellow, which shows us that we can do a little bit, we can put a little bit of work into a specific area and see a lot of growth from that. This is the current beginning of the year data. You have seen this on the board reports that I've been sending you, but I kind of wanted to talk about just a little bit of it. So you kind of have to ignore this right here because that's our growth columns. And as the year goes, I'm going to fill in this document and it's going to show growth, and it'll automatically calculate that for me. That's why you're seeing these numbers right now. Right now, all I have is the snapshot one, and this is the total average growth. So I've divided this by my classes. I've got the average growth, the average for the class, and then I've got a total average for the whole kindergarten class. So at the beginning of the year on math, the IXL should have been 10 and 20 is considered average. And they are at 44 in math. Their ELA 28. So you're seeing right here in kindergarten, you're starting lower in ELA than you are math. You don't do the STAR assessment in ELA in math in kindergarten. So the column I want you to look at on this one is the grade equivalence. So the grade equivalent column is the one that you want to focus on right now, because that tells you they were performing at the beginning of the year about pre-K 7th month of school, our kindergarten classes, as an average. First grade, 104, which is first grade level. 100 would be first grade even, 110 would be first grade first month. Does that make sense? ELA, they were at 109, so average first grade, first month, pretty good. We're starting almost an average on level for first grade. Then you look at the grade equivalent for math in STAR, we were starting at 0.5. That's first grade. So 0.5, we're about 5 months deficit in math is what our beginning of the year assessment showed. ELA, 0.5. But you see, you're the same. First grade, at about a half a year deficit, according to STAR. So that's the two different beginning of year assessments. Moving on. Second grade, 204, starting on level in math, according to IXL. ELA beginning of the year snapshot, 223, a little bit ahead in ELA in second grade as an average. What is my STAR telling me? Math, I'm starting about 3 months behind, 1.7. 2, ELA starting on grade level in second grade. So I'm starting to see that little bit of deficit in math. Third grade, 247, math. So this is the first time that IXL has showed a deficit in third grade in math. ELA 263. So I'm a little bit higher in ELA. If you look at STAR, the grade equivalent, 2.5 in math, so a half a year deficit, 2.95 in ELA, almost on grade level, starting third grade in ELA, half a year deficit in math. Third grade was 3 months deficit in math, second grade was 3 months, third grade, half a year. Snapshot 1, 338 on IXL. So this is fourth grade. So now I'm starting 6 months behind according to IXL in math. ELA, fourth grade, 372, about 3 months behind according to IXL at that beginning of your assessment. If you look at the grade equivalent in STAR, 4.0. So now I'm showing about a year deficit in math according to STAR. And then the grade equivalent in ELA, 4.3. So I'm starting to see that I've got about 7 month deficit. Hold up, wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. 4 is on grade level, 4.3 would be 3 months above in fourth grade. Fifth grade, 409. I've got a year deficit because it should have been 500. An ELA, 4.26, so I've got about an 8 month deficit. If you look at the grade equivalent, you've got 4.5, so you've got a half a year deficit in math, but your ELA, you have a 3 month, you're 3 months ahead. So if you think back to my data I showed you just before, the state assessments. I had a lot of green and blue in ELA, and then a lot of red. But then if you look at the map, I had a little bit of red, but a lot of yellow, and then a little bit of green and blue. So basically, what that says to me is we're missing some places in math that we can move them, but we need some hardcore interventions in ELA to bring up those big does not meet standard. So that's kind of where we went this year. We'll keep working on that next year. Strategies, instructional small groups. I've got an intervention block in the master schedule. I have really focused my teachers on number talks, which build a number sense, an understanding of number sense, and grade level fact fluency. We can teach them to read, they understand the math facts, and we teach them how to understand and have that number sense, then you can move them in math. We're using after-school programming, and we've got 2 interventionists who are focusing on 1st through 3rd grade levels. I can't spread them too thin, so I picked my most needy grades for that focus. Attendance. So this is attendance. This is kind of a chronologue over the years. You can look at, this was really when we weren't taking a whole lot of attendance in COVID. But if you see, right now we're doing pretty good on attendance. Our red is lower, but we're right at the semester. This is comparison of Somersville Elementary the last 3 years. So the purple is us this year. The blue is last year, and then the black is the year before. Attendance by grades. So I thought this was interesting. My biggest attendance concerns are in lower grade levels. Currently, kindergarten is the worst. Strategies we're doing to address attendance. We're trying to implement every 10 days a STEM activity being awarded to kids with no absences, no tardies, no early outs. We're starting that this month. We've been trying to get it in place. We've got the Mountaineer coming to have lunch with our students December 13th with the students that have been present for 10 days, no absence, no tardy. And then we're going to introduce a STEM activity every other Friday for the ones that qualify. And the way I'm thinking is they're little. It's easier to do something small, more repetitive, to engage them to come versus bigger, like pets. Looking had said, she's talking about it daily. That's kind of the culture we want to get with attendance. Mary Ann Taylor from the city of Somersville, she is coming once a month and working with 1 grade level group. Last month, she worked with preschool. They come, they did a turkey craft, and then every day the kids were there in November, they added a feather to that turkey. We made it a family engagement activity, and we brought parents in so they could hear the importance of attendance too. The month of December, they'll be going into kindergarten classes and doing an activity that promotes attendance. And we want to get away from just talking and the handouts here. This is what promotes good attendance. We want to actually show them how you can add to something with good attendance, making it a fun craft, involving families that help. Elementary kids aren't responsible for their attendance. Their parents are. So we've got to get parent involved. Absence letters, phone calls, and we will do school system team meetings for students who fall into chronic absenteeism. Behavior. This is the behavior referrals over the last 3 years in WEBUS. offensive by location in my building, and you can see we're working on a new PBIS system. Most of our behavior is, even though these are smaller, these all add up to more than that. Is that my time? Is that my 15 minutes?
It is, you're almost done.
I'm almost finished.
Yeah, go ahead.
Offenses by grade, right now, preschool's high because sometimes it's hard to keep preschoolers safe from themselves, and they do stuff like running from us, and we have to lock the building down. So that creates an atmosphere of having to do a disciplinary action, which is not something that you want to do, but if you can't keep them safe, then you have to make sure you're addressing. Offenses by day of the week. Friday's my worst day. Strategies to address. Our PBIS team is working hard to implement some new things starting next year. We've got social learning, emotional learning lessons going on weekly, and positive office referrals, hit sheets, and school assistants. Upcoming events. There's a list of our events if you want to come. So there's a lot of Christmas stuff on there. You guys have any questions for me?
Your pre-K, you draw pre-K from this area and other areas?
Yeah.
Or do you have the highest?
There's Zila doesn't have a preschool. Preschool, Mountain View doesn't have a preschool. So yeah, I have preschoolers coming from other areas. Lake Creek.
What does your science consist of?
Science.
Yeah. That looks like flows.
Yeah. What does it like in the classroom? We're not doing the generation.
How do you compare on the state level?
Oh, I would have to look compared to the state. It was the lowest, but I can pull it up if you want me to.
Oh, that's okay.
I know we have a lot of yellow. We have room to grow there, and I'd say with a little bit of focus in certain areas, but that was the 5th grade only. That's the only class that's tested in science at my school. So that Generation Genius, that would be a good, that Birch River was doing, and that did prove to show a lot of growth for Birch River.
You don't use that.
No, not at Summersville, we have not introduced that yet. Not yet.
You've only been there, what, 4 months?
Yeah.
So, I'm glad to see you working on basic facts. I think for years, that was a lax in our county. And it's, if you don't know your letters, you can't read.
Yeah.
And if you don't know your basic facts, you can't do the harder.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad you're working on that.
Now, that fact fluency, and I'm a firm believer that if we can get fact fluency, teach them to read, and give them a good number sense, then all you have to do now is implement that growth mindset, that perseverance, and that problem-solving strategies.
Anytime we have a change in administration, there's an adjustment period. And I mean, you bring a different kind of background, different style to your leadership. You're very data-driven, and you're very hands-on with activities. How has that gone over with your staff?
It's been kind of a culture shock for us all because we're learning each other, and how I work versus how they worked in the past. So I'm more of a shared leadership style. I want a team working with me, and I have a lot of people that have been very receptive to that.
Because I know you do hold people accountable for doing the right things and staying on task and those kind of things. And I just wondered how that was going. We talked about when we were doing this job, we told you there's going to be some growing pains. And I just wanted, I know where you are, but we talked,
Yeah.
but I want the board to hear how things are going with your staff.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff that I'm asking them to do now that they've not done in the past. So that's been kind of, we're growing, so we're learning to stretch. And that communication has been kind of hindered because I would say certain things and just expect that that's what was done. And they were like, well, we've never done this, will you show us? And so there has been a lot of growing pains for us this year.
You're not saying much resistance, it's just getting used to each other.
Yes.
Okay.
And it sounds like you are very adaptive, very good, and I assume, I mean, assume things. You tell them what the data is showing.
Yes, that's
And
my
you're also,
leadership
you know,
style.
and then somebody's got to show them how to change that data, what they have to do, or their teaching style. I think a lot of times when people get something thrown new at them, you're saying the data is telling you this, but you gotta go one more step and say, this is how we change that
Yes,
data.
well, and that's been one of the things that's been hardest, like in our PLCs, I will make them bring data to the table, and then look at the data, implementing strategies to address it, and then a monitoring system, because the data is nothing without a monitoring system. You can say you're gonna do everything in the world, but if you don't have a monitoring system that's going to come in and make sure that all of that's happening, then you might as well just give up right there. Mrs. Whitesell's drive for the leader in me, where you have the wildly important goals, that's going to be very beneficial, I think, to the county and to my staff. But that's kind of how I've set my PLCs up, trying to show them how we look at our weakness, we implement strategies, we monitor the strategies, we tweak it, and we come back regularly to fix it. So,
Thank you. Next, we have.
One drive or one drive, whichever one is easier.
What is it?
One drive or one drive, whichever one is easier. You can, some of it's so small it's hard to see, but what's up here, so at least it'll give you somewhere to jump.
I think the glass of water is starting to stick right there. Thank you.
All right, good morning, I am Julia Duffield, I think I've met everybody in the room. I know it looks like there's a lot of slides, but a lot of this has been in your board report, so I will be skipping through a lot of it, that's just kind of a reference for you. So a lot of this is a summarization of the past few months of work. Last year, if you'll remember, we did a space theme. Every year we develop a theme that we guide all of our parent engagement activities and a lot of things throughout the year. And this year we went with Up, and Away to just continue to take our academics and our attendance and our behavior in an upward trajectory. And our strategic plan, there's our meeting dates and the goals we will be going through. In order to develop that strategic plan, we do a needs assessment with not only our staff, These are the components and stakeholders from our staff and our school, but we have included our Title I Parent Advisory Council and our local school improvement council and a group of parents, in addition some grandparents and business partners. I won't belabor this. This is our at, near, or above mastery. This is everybody but the red, and you'll see the breakdown of the colors in just a moment. But I want to highlight the 4th grade group just so that you can see the correlation between IXL and GSA. These are last year's GSA by English Language Arts, and our IXL, when we had our last principals meeting, some of the principals could vouch that there were awards given out, and our cohort of 4th graders, which are now 5th grade, they compared last year's IXL beginning of the year snapshot to this year's beginning of the snapshot, and we had the greatest growth of cohort across the county for ELA. And with these scores from GSA, that just verifies that the IXL is aligning pretty closely with the GSA as well. So that kind of verified that we thought, is it really aligning well? And it looks like it is based on the scores that the school produced. And you can see the comparison of the state and the county in our school. This is our math results. And again, when we compared some of our IXL strands to our GSA strands, when we are doing our PLCs, we're finding that the correlations are there of where our greatest areas for improvement are. And you'll hear that in a little bit. For example, here, we're going to see measurement data and geometry. Measurement and geometry has historically, since I've been there for 3 years, been the lowest area. And so we have not jumped ship. We figure like to change a goal every year, we're not going to make that. As most of you know, it takes 3 to 5 years to actually meet a goal. So we are not jumping ship from that, since that is still, instead of, you can do some comparison, some of our lowest areas, even though 76% we're thrilled with, we still want to continue to hit our areas of weakness so that we continue to grow. This is the actual breakdown of our below, partial mastery, and above mastery then. It's the same data that was in the last 2 slides. It's just broken out by actual 4 quadrants instead of the at or near. Our 3rd grade was our lowest class, I will say that. And we have implemented some strategies specifically to deal with the weaker areas of our students in that. In the past 3 years, these are the lowest numbers that we have seen as far as from Mount Lookout in a specific grade level. And so we are addressing some of these specific needs, and I'll show you that when we break it down into some of our subgroups in a moment. Our 4th grade, again, as you saw in the previous slides, they were some of the highest scores, and you can see we were 71% proficient and 76% proficient in ELA and math. And there's our 5th grade results as well. And all of this, I'm kind of skimming through because all of this has also been in your board reports. And then this is our science. One of you had asked about the science scores. Our 5th grade science scores were very good. You can see the state was at 32, the county was at 30, and we were at 53%. And going through the balanced scorecard, I had pulled this up to do a comparison with the parents and our students or our staff, but you can see that was the state and the county. But we have met our targets. As mentioned, the check mark indicates our targets. With academic achievement, our greatest area is economically disadvantaged, and I have that broken down in a slide that you can actually see a little easier than this, so I will go into that. But that is our area of partially meets, everything else is meets or exceeds, except for right here with attendance. And I think that's, as we've discussed, 9 days or less for school success. And we have an extensive attendance program that we're working with. This is our attendance and enrichment. This is how we have it broken down. We have it broken down by school, by class, by individual core groups of kids, and then individual kids. We do a 9 weeks enrichment trip. Even though some of our percentage rates, if you could actually compare your percentage rates from the past couple of years to this year, ours have dropped. And we dug into that, and we have some students, and you'll see it in another slide as well, that are on an IEP health exclusion. They miss 1 to 2 days a week for health-related absences that we have no control over because it's with some specific handicap situations, and so we have a couple kids like that. So they miss at least 1 to 2 days every single week. So with a school my size, it definitely has impacted our percentage rates. When you pull those out and you look at how many kids have actually hit the mark, we had 58 kids that were eligible for our 9 weeks field trip, which is the most we've ever had in 3 years. So it is working for the majority of our kids. We do a 9 weeks or a monthly bell to bell as well for awards. We have used Osmos, we've had bicycles, we've done theater, family packs of things for the kids. So that is working as well. We do a class squad where they spell the word attendance. As you can see, they're filling in their letters, and it gets quite competitive depending on the grade level that you're talking about, and then they earn a class reward. And you can see we're also doing a bulletin board of a competition every month as to see which class has the highest attendance, and so that class is also getting a reward. So we're attacking it from a multitude of angles, trying to make sure that they're getting it not just at a school level, but a class level, an individual level, that they can earn things from every aspect. And not to mention the 9 days or less for school success. We might not have businesses donating ice cream to do an ice cream party at the end of the year for that and things like that, that of course does not meet our food standards, but we're gonna do it at the end of the day with a big ice cream party with the kids. I won't go into this too much, but you can see our 2025 goal was 51.85%, which we have exceeded with our ELA. So when we wrote our strategic plan goals, yes, we have an ELA goal, a math goal, and an attendance goal because those were our 3 areas of focus, but we did not settle on the state's goal target. We set it much higher than that so that our school could continue to grow. And if you look at our economically disadvantaged here, in the past, it was at 52% in 2021, 53.85, 55.56, and it's continuing to grow. Even though that's our area of yellow on the state's balanced scorecard, that is our weakest area, but we are continuing to push that envelope. And this is the same with math. Our 2025 is at 48%, and we're excited to, that's not the bar that we're setting. This is our area of focus. As I mentioned before, geometry and measurement. We did geometry jams 1 year. We did measurement Mondays 1 year. And we are continuing to do that every week they are hitting geometry or measurement in a specific sense. What we found was that when we first analyzed the data 3 years ago, everybody said, well, measurement geometry was at the end of the curriculum. But we didn't get to that. Or COVID hit and that wasn't a priority standard, so well, that could be taught at home. So that's been a weak area for several years. So we are focusing on that, and you'll see that in our IXL scores in a little bit, but it's definitely working with our emphasis on that. And this is more specifically with our ELA focus. Our writing focus, I'll share with you in just a little bit. Our Title I teacher is actually a published author, Annie Johnson, and she is using our writing maps curriculum and actually going in and doing co-teaching lessons with the teachers and providing not only the student support, but some scaffolding for our staff as well and professional development. I won't go into this. This is when we did it with the staff. We broke it down by strand, so we knew exactly which strand to target, and then we broke it down further into which skills specifically. This is from our GSA scores, so that we knew exactly where to hit, and we compared that with IXL and STAR to make sure we were targeting exactly what they needed. This is our breakdown of IXL from the beginning of the year to current. What we found was when we broke down the subgroups at the very beginning of the year, our special education students and our students that were those at-risk economically disadvantaged kids, most of them were in the SAT process. So we pulled all of that data together, and we're monitoring all of our special ed kids and all of our SAT kids every single month to compare and say, where are they weaker? And so it looks like, kindergarten didn't have much growth. They only had 17 points growth in a couple months, but they were already at 47, which, as you've heard several principals mention, that is 4th to 5th month. So they're already on target. So the growth doesn't look as great there. Another thing that we're doing with IXL is as kids hit 2 skills per week in ELA and 2 skills in math proficient at 80 to 100%, they're earning tickets, and you can see our lovely mugs of shots of all of the staff here. They are earning tickets to put in a pie in the face contest that we will do, and that has become highly competitive. I happen to have seen some elves have moved some tickets from one jar to the other, so the kids have loved playing with that. This is where we really dug deep. We took all of our data and we split it up into subgroups, and I won't go into everything, but we took our special education population and we ripped it apart. And we looked at, since that was the group of our kids that had the least amount of growth, what are we going to do to really make sure those kids as well are having all of their needs met? If you look at all of our special ed population, we have about 20% of our student body is special ed. And of that, 76.5, almost 77% of our special ed kids are also economically disadvantaged. So when you look at our balanced scorecard, they're not only hitting us in a special ed category, they're hitting us in economically disadvantaged. And you can actually see that almost 24% of them are also homeless. So we're getting hit on a multitude of levels with the balanced scorecard, even if it looks good, we want to make sure we're still making sure that all of those kids are growing. We said, well, was attendance a concern? So we pulled that data for our special ed kids' attendance, and we can't really say that it is. 1.38 days average of all of our kids, and over 0.63 for unexcused. So the absences for those kids aren't really necessarily impacting their growth because they aren't missing nearly as much as what you might have thought. And then this is their margin here. We dug deep as a staff. I won't go into each one of these. This is showing our IXL growth from beginning of the year to current in all of your various streams with ELA and math. I will highlight this one. We bragged and bragged and bragged on the kids at the beginning of the year because we thought, well, wow, they're knocking it out of the park. That was the beginning of the year. They're already, as you can look, at 87% proficiency, and we haven't even hit mid-year. So we're really watching that growth for them. With our writing strategies, as you saw before, they were at 50%, they're already growing. And K through 2 typically are not in IXL. The writing doesn't start until you can bump it into that, and that's what someone else at kindergarten is starting to show that. And we're bumping that down from 2nd grade, 1st grade, and bumping it into our kindergarten levels. This is the area of greatest growth that we have to show for our ELA side of things when we dug into our ELA GSA scores and our IXL scores. The funny thing was when I facilitated the 5th grade's last PD day that each principal was responsible with, when I asked them one of the questions of what is their greatest area of concern, every 5th grade teacher in the county said grammar mechanics. And I said, that aligns with exactly what we looked at with our school up data. So it may just be an elementary-based deficit, but this was the area that every teacher in that meeting indicated was their greatest area for growth. With our math, I was going to show the specific one, and I know you guys have this, so I'm skipping through this. Our geometry, this was again, the area, geometry and measurement was where we are focusing on. That was our weakest area. You can see just over 50%. With our emphasis of making sure every week is getting hit and we're not waiting until that section of the curriculum, you can see the growth already this year has been huge with our IXL. In measurement, the same way, you can see that our red is shrinking, our gray is completely gone, and our yellow is shrinking as well. So we're focusing on those two aspects. You had mentioned the Haggerty. It's a phonological awareness program. It is very explicit, and being done every day, we have found that our 2nd grade and our 1st grade teachers, especially our 2nd grade teacher, expressed that she can see such a difference in where the kids are starting now as to when they did not have this. And we have implemented Haggerty for the last 2 years with kindergarten and 1st grade. So our 2nd grade is the first group that's had it for 3 consecutive years. And we can see a big difference in their alphabet recognition, their production of sound, and all of the concepts with phonological awareness and being able to manipulate sounds and substitute sounds and form new words. Again, we have our Haggerty, our thinking maps, which is our writing curriculum, and the co-teaching model. The teachers are super excited to have Annie Johnson in doing a collaborative approach with that. And one thing I was excited with our PD, you'll see in a little bit, our secret stories is typically a K2 approach, but we found like our 4th and 5th grade teachers are saying, a lot of these kids don't know about teams. They don't know some of the specific skills. And so we brought in Cindy Shelton and some others to do secret stories training with our upper grade teachers as well, so that it can be a consistent program across all grade levels. This is the PD that we have had. There's 2 slides of it. The one I want to hit the most is our autism instruction strategies. We had Marshall come in over the summer. When I did a survey with the staff, they said that was the area that they felt they needed the most support in going into this year. We knew we had several students coming in and or continuing in our school that had some severe autism needs, and we needed a better handle on how to approach some of that with not only the academic side of things, but the behaviors that we were going to encounter and how to make sure that everyone was continuing to learn. So we did bring them in and did a training with our staff, full staff. And that's similar to our PD. I'll continue on. This one, Miss Priest, your teacher of the year. She continually will use that when it's convenient for her, as she laughs and jokes. But they've adopted their cow, and her name is Dahlia. But I will say that they have incorporated that into every academic component of their day. They did a social studies vote. They've done their math with it. Their ELA, their Haggerty is tied to that. She found a stuffed cow that is their classroom mascot. And so whoever is the most engaged of the day gets to be the one that takes care of the stuffed cow throughout the day as they, for a first grader, that's huge. One of them got to take it home for Thanksgiving break. I can only imagine how this cow's gonna look at the end of the year. But it's been a very motivational tool, as simple as it sounds, throughout the day. In kindergarten, we try to do student engagement school-wide with a lot of things. So in our kindergarten class at the beginning of the year, we did colored themed days. So as they were learning a specific color, every kid in the school, all the staff wore a specific color. So that was fun. Some of our other events, our Project Fair Night, it was student-led. If you can see in the background, we have a couple kids that have won literature fairs and social studies fairs in the past. They did a lot of our demonstrations for our parents and our kids, as well as Ms. Key organized and led that, and then Save the Children was involved that night. They came out, brought their van, brought poster boards, all the materials that the kids would need to make the projects. So the parents got all of the expertise in how to do one, because when I surveyed the parents, they're like, we just want to know how to do one. So we did a whole evening for that. Some of our other engagement events, this is in the day. It's a twist on a read aloud program. They've done some read alouds in small groups, and then the parents were doing read alouds at home with the kids. The kids didn't do the book report, then the parent and the kid came in and did a presentation together. And so they had a list of options to choose from, a diorama, timeline, and so forth. The parents were more nervous than the kids, I'll just say that. They definitely were quite anxious when they got there, but it was a great experience to go in and see the parents and the kids working together and extending that learning at home and then bringing it back into the classroom. Another thing, in our 5th grade, Lori Nutter, you've recognized her before the board before as a parent volunteer. She's done excellent with our Read Aloud program. She started a few books at the beginning, or last spring, and then all summer long, every couple weeks would give us an update that we put out on social media as well. And then this fall, they brought the giant pumpkin in. You can see it on the truck. She brought it in. All the kids got to go out and take pictures and do things and continue that Read Aloud program that started last spring clear into this fall. And we did a harvest book with that as well. I got you, Chris. All right, our standards-based instruction, our grade level standards are posted, and the staff are referring to them, as you can see. Our student recognitions are something that we try to make sure that we do consistently and continually. The Honor Roll Club parade that we had started, the kids love that. We do that at the end of every 9 weeks for every kid that has regular honor roll, straight A honor roll, and then we do a recognition of effort as well. And then, of course, we recognize all of our fair winners. Art Cart is based on a grant. Most of the elementary schools now have that, but we wrote an extra grant to expand it to 2, 3, 4, and 5, where most schools are just 4 or 5. And she was a student of the month out of 4,200 kids. This is the instructor, and this is our 3rd grade student, Micah. We, a couple years ago, used school money to buy window perfs to cover the main entrance and the staff entrance. Last year, I wrote a grant so that you can't really see it much, but you can see it great out here. We covered the bottom half of every single window in the school for safety measures through a grant that we wrote, so that the safety measures were there. We had we had reportings of literally parents that were in domestic situations sitting across in the field, as you can imagine, you know, the school layout, taking pictures of kids that they weren't supposed to be having any contact with. So through that grant, we were able to put window perfs in. So unless you're Jolly the Green Giant on a ladder, you can't see in any of the classrooms. And through another grant we wrote, and there was some trip hazards, so we got some rugs for the school as well. And excited to say that we're getting an inclusive piece of equipment for our new playground, which you guys have seen pictures of, and there's more coming. I did obtain that grant from Nicholas County Community Foundation, so we have a new piece of equipment that we're going to be able to order through that grant as well. And small group instruction is consistent across the county, so I won't belabor that, but as you can see, this is just our kindergarten classroom alone, and the small groups that are targeting the skills that they specifically need with our intervention model as well. Our parent community members do a ton of stuff with our school. Our Read Aloud program is a highlight. We have 16 parents so far already that have read. We have to limit them and alter when they can come in, because they can't come in every week, or we'd have parents all over the building all day long, which is a great problem to have. So we are rotating those parents. So they might come in once a month or once every 2 or 3 months, because we have so many parents that we're rotating through the building. This is a piece that we were so excited, and I know when you called me, I think one day when we had the family come in with our ELL situation there, it's been great. We have a little child, and this is his mother, and she gave me permission to post everything. But she's coming in and doing bilingual read alouds, and the kids are eating it up, and it's really built a sense of culture within that classroom. And I can't say enough about Miss Dorsey. She's done amazing with making sure that he feels totally integrated, even though the mama said to me, no supplements. I'm like, she said, fully immerse him. Don't give him an out. But there's been times that we've used translators and things, digital translators, but it has been a great thing. And she came in and did a whole question and answer session on cultural diversity and the differences between just their locations. She's going to come back and do that again at Christmas and different times throughout the year. So this has been a great addition to our school. We have highlighted many of our veterans. We had a huge luncheon. As you can see, there was lots of people in attendance with that to give back. And our Lunch and Learn continues to go anywhere from 15 to 30 people every single day that we have it. So that's great. We had a game night where the students were trying to do a lot of students led this. Some teachers led a few of them, but our students led most all of our math and STEM games that night. And we're continuing to give back. They did a hurricane collection. And this, of course, as you guys have seen, is the playground for the year. And I got permission to use Macy's picture. She is super excited, but the other kids are really benefiting from that playground as well. And so our extra piece of equipment will fit within these parameters, but to do anything else, we'll have to expand it. So, but any questions?
One thing I want to say is something you mentioned earlier in the presentation, something about the defense scores or your targets above the state level. I think that's important because, in the past, we thought, well, if we up to the state, that's great. Well, the state's not doing so great.
Right.
Like 49th out of 50. So reaching the state level is not a great accomplishment. I mean, I'm not trying to poo-poo it.
Right.
I'm just saying that setting your standards above that is the way we should be looking at it. I appreciate it.
What do you use in science?
We are integrating a lot of our science into our reading curriculum. Some of them have a separate science block, but there's not a countywide adopted science program per se right now. We have the FOSS kits that we've kept to use with our, that was the former science adoption, but we are using the Scholastic News, which is what everybody in the county, that's what we have, and it's an integration of ELA and the science content together. It almost looks like a magazine, if you will. Is that what you would call it? It looks like a magazine, but we get one every single week that we can use, and so those are being integrated with the ELA content and the science content combined.
Well, we know that math is the language of science.
Right.
So I think it's important to incorporate science and math together. I'm kind of science oriented.
You might be a little partial, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So since I'm art oriented, you all put extra money in.
We did, we wrote that grant so that we could expand it.
So the expense,
We have second, third, fourth, and fifth. The first year we got the grant was for fourth and fifth grade, and then we wrote, my secretary and I sat down and wrote it, another grant so that we could expand it into a couple of the lower grades. So right now we have second, third, fourth, and fifth.
it's a program.
It is, yes, the kids love it, yes. And the agency has been great to work with. We've had a variety of instructors, and the current one, which is great because as an elementary school, we have very few men in the school. And so it's been great to have another man every once in a while in the building that the kids
So
can
they
have a
rotate
positive.
instructors.
Yes, the instructors are certified art teachers from that company.
Just ignore math, art, or ignore science and art over here, and help with math.
Yeah, I hear you. Anything else?
Thank you.
Next, we have Zila.
Well, when did you?
PowerPoint, yes.
Just pull up, Good, man?
All right, good morning. The attention at Zila is quite a bit less. I've noticed this morning. Yesterday was it got kind of tough there. I walked in the office there, and you know Angela Nicholas, and I walked in and I looked at her and said, "You look like you're ready to whip somebody." And I said, "I hope it's not me." But anyway, everything's quite a bit light attention, and I appreciate that as well. I've got a brief PowerPoint for chronic absences. The one strategy I wanted to implement this year, the team, in order to accomplish that, is to increase our parent engagement and try to boost academics and attendance as well on that. Here's a list of strategies, and I won't go through all of them. It's a lot of the things that we're doing right now. The PBIS, I still do, we do a weekly assembly on Fridays to recognize kids for the things that they're doing right. Trauma sensitivity, this is about the third year that I've had that initiative at Zila. We know that trauma affects student performance. When I talk about trauma, I'm not just saying one event, like an accident or something like that. Trauma can take the place, it can look like maybe the death of a family member, emotional abuse over a long period of time, lack of nutrition, on and on. Things like that that take place over time can have an effect on student achievement as well. We also work with collaborative problem solving as part of our PBIS program and resolving conflicts as well. We've got weekly TLCs, and we're fortunate enough to have most of the kids bust out or they leave at the same time every day. So at the end of the day, we've got about 45 minutes to take care of, collaborate, teachers, look at kids' progress as far as that goes. Summer school, we had the WVU Energy Express program as well. I had 4 last year, but we've got 3 interventionists this year to work on to remediate student deficits. The PBIS, as you know, we're a model school, and I would expect that to continue as well. We'll be audited again by the PBIS team this year. But what I like about the PBIS program is it targets your school's climate, it targets your school's culture, and like Pat talked about, I think those are both extremely important when you're looking at factors that influence academic performance. With the PBIS, the key to it are the expectations, consistent expectations. Ask any kid at Zila Elementary, and they'll tell you, what do we expect? They'll tell you 3 things: be safe, be respectful, and be responsible. And we work hard on that so that each kid knows in every setting of the school what the specific expectations are, not only behaviorally, but academically as well. This is posted up on the wall when I talk about expectations. This tells you in each of the settings just as a reminder to staff, students everywhere, what the specific, what's required in each setting. And every classroom, I think this was second grade on here, they have certificates. And if they are meeting those expectations consistently, they get a certificate. And they add to that, you see all the stars. I don't know if you can see that from here, but you've got safety, respect, and responsibility. And they get the stars, the stickers to place on their certificate, and that's posted out in the hall for everybody to see. Here's one kid, what it looks like individually, and they get that for following expectations, for being safe, for being respectful, for being responsible, for attendance. And I don't know, I think, does anybody have a book machine? We've got one this year, and the kids absolutely love that. To get, they trade these stickers for tokens for the book machine. And so we've handed out a lot of books. Like I said, we've got assemblies every Friday morning to recognize kids. And I talked about the trauma sensitivity already. I think that's important to recognize that. And then do some strategies to help with that. Here's one of the things, the zones of regulation. We want to encourage kids to be in the green zone, which means they're at school and they're ready to learn. And if they're not, that's okay. You can work toward that. Collaborative problem solving, I talked about that. Okay, and that's it. Any questions?
One question I have is this year we had this grade. How's that working? How is she?
It's gone well. I think the adjustment was much easier than my teacher had thought. I know she was really worried about that all summer and did a lot of planning, Mrs. Shelton. But it seems you wouldn't know the difference when you walk in and out. The kids have just, unfortunately, we're down to, I've got 4 kids in 4th grade, and half of them have IEPs or autistic. So that's, the 4th grade's the one I'm really worried about. We're trying to really nurse them along as well.
The 3rd graders you have this year?
Well, and about the same number of 5th graders as well. My largest class is 1st grade. I think they have 17 right now. We just added one kindergarten, we're up to 11 there. So most classes are about a dozen. But,
You guys have any questions? You want to show the video?
Yeah, if it's okay, I'd like to show it. It's been about a year ago, but, and this goes back to the bear. I had a British, the British television network called me about a year ago and said, wanted to come out. They sent a film crew over and to talk about the bear and shoot some footage of it. And their program, it's called Impossible Moments Caught on Camera. And it airs through Great Britain, all across Europe, and it was in season 8, episode 1, featured Zela Elementary. It's an hour-long program, and unfortunately, you cannot access it here. They have it blocked, unless you're over there in Europe or Great Britain. But anyway, the crew came over and they did a really nice piece. And the cameraman even climbed inside the dumpster to get the bear's shot, point of view. And it was just really cute, and they did a good job with it. And it's entertaining, and I thought it was worth seeing.
In the workplace, every day is a school day. And that's especially true for the man in our next job.
I'm James Morris, principal of Zela Elementary in Nicholas County, West Virginia.
gets here at 7 a.m. and I try to arrive before 7. That is when the buses start rolling in. Most of our students are dropped off by a school bus. And today started off very much like any other day.
But unknown to Principal Marsh, one local resident had come to school early. In the middle of the night, one of the 13,000 bears that live in West Virginia had popped by for a midnight snack.
About a week before, we had seen a mess out by the dumpster, and I had gotten on our security cameras and noticed and saw this bear coming in late at night. He was getting a snack and then leaving before daylight.
And so Principal Marsh set up his own motion detecting camera to capture any criminal behavior or barefaced cheek. Unfortunately, neither he nor his staff had checked the camera that morning. As such, they were completely unaware that there was a 6-foot-tall American black bear hiding on the premises.
My custodian, she said, Mr. Marsh, I'm having trouble getting the lock off the dumpster. Could you help me?
And so as the children arrived at the front gates, Principal Marsh went round the back to wrestle with the lock.
Both of us were very surprised. What I remember was the noise, the sound, the roar and the growl of this bear that was right in front of my face. That came out of that thing like a jack in the box. I smile about it now and I laugh about it now, but at the time, I admit it was a bit scary.
With over 5 million views online, this viral moment has changed the school forever.
We always used to be known as the Mustangs, but after everything that's happened with this bear, how could we not change it? And so our teachers met and they voted, hey, let's change the name to the Black Bears.
Which is all well and good, but when the kids all now be saying that a bear ate their homework?
No, we had him locked out. He could not get back in the dumpster. He made regular visits every night for about a week, and he finally gave up.
Who knows? Maybe one day the bear will come back to repeat the school year.
You know, I like to think that I'm brave and nothing like that scares me, but I do admit that every time I walk by that dumpster now, I listen. If I'm going to open it, I check it first to see if there's any noise inside. That happens every time, yeah, I admit that. I thought they did a really good job with it. There's really cute. Kids, of course, the kids love to see that as well.
That's a piece of education.
Indeed. And I still get some calls about that. There was back in the early part of the fall, a TV network in Germany and did an interview, and I've never seen it yet. They did a piece with it. But and I told them, I said, I don't speak German. And they said, Mr. Marsh, he said, it's okay. They said, everybody has to learn 2 languages over here, and almost everybody knows English. So I've never seen that piece yet. So that's still going on.
Have bear will try.
Yeah, indeed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, do we need a break before Summersville Middle? Just kidding. Summersville Middle.
Got one question, Christine Rizal's happy to encourage changes.
Yeah, they're gonna hire him.
No, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna hire everyone.
Yeah, boss.
Yeah. we've been working really hard at the beginning, well, last year on PBIS and working on our community engagement. That's really been a big focus for Somersville Middle School starting last year and then implementing and rolling things out this year. So this year with our LSIC members, we have Denise Crawl, Mrs. Pennington, Mr. Woods, Scott here, Ashley LaRose, Aaron Evans, and Lindsay Skipper. They've all been very active in what we've been working on and the goals that we've had this year for the school. Just to start with, our attendance has been a little bit better this year than last. You can see on the left side, and this is each month. So the first month we were about 91%, and then we bumped up to 95. We're down with the third month of school to 92, but we're still a little bit better than last year, which is really good. In the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing kids. We've had the flu, we've had strep, we had several kids have pneumonia. So it was more than just a day out sick. They were out 2 or 3 days. But they're bringing their doctor's notes in, and we have more parents this year calling saying, hey, my kid is sick. I know the attendance matters. We have some new initiatives, but I want you to know they're just not home skipping today. They really are sick. So it's really helping. The community's really supporting it. And last year, year to date, and this was from November, when I was originally supposed to be LSIC, but we had 27% chronically absent. But this school year, we're down to 12 from this time last year. So that's a huge improvement. And of course, our enrollment, we're sitting around 511. That fluctuates with students who are residing at the Faulty Shelter and some moving in and out. So we're staying right around 510, 511. So last year, within our leadership team, we talked about what are the things in our school that we are seeing that we need to jump on right now to make some changes and get some things under control. And the big thing was being consistent just in our practices every day and in each classroom. So our kids are coming to us in elementary or from elementary, and they have 6 teachers a day. And we were finding that 6 or 7 teachers were doing things differently between discipline, just expectations in the classroom. And that's really confusing and really hard for kids, especially when they're 11 years old and they come from elementary and they have 1 or 2 teachers, and they have those school-wide expectations, they have those classroom expectations, and then they're coming to us and they have 5 different sets, 6 different sets thrown at them. So we organized our PBIS team, and we attended all the Tier 1 trainings last year in Flatwoods to begin developing our plan and rolling that out with input from all of the grade level teams as well. So it was a lot of work. There's a lot of things in here, but the first thing that we had to do was come up with basically our slogan. What are the expectations? What's our matrix? How it's going to look? So we broke that up. You're going to show up to school, and we have expectations for showing up. When you get here, we want you to be motivated. What is it going to look like to be motivated? And then what does it look like to succeed? So throughout the school, you'll see the SMS slogan, and in each area, we set up expectations. So in the classroom, be on time, enter quietly, and be prepared. And to be motivated, you follow directions, and you actively participate and be successful. You're going to respect differences, complete your assignments on time, and leave no trace. Pick up after yourself, okay? So in each area of the building, hallways, transition, cafeteria, restrooms, you're going to see those expectations. And so during the Tier 1 training, we focused on data analysis, looking at discipline. And we found that when we went back through and included lunch detention within the discipline infractions, we had over 400 in that 1 year. That's a lot. So a lot of the lunch detentions were repeat offenders. Okay, you had kids that had lunch detention 10 times in the year. But then, what type of infractions are we seeing most? What's happening? Is it fighting? And a lot of it was just those classroom interruptions. So one thing that we really had to break down was being consistent in what is classroom managed and then what is office managed. So in the classroom, what the teachers need to do to take care of what's going on with that room. And Mrs. Weitzel actually had a good example one day when we were talking about it, and then we've kind of used it since then. Would you call the cops for this at your house? If your kid was acting this way, would you call the police? We are the police. What's going on in the classroom? What can we handle? What needs managed by someone else? So that was a big inconsistency that we found, because some teachers were handling certain behaviors while other teachers were sending those out. So it was very burdensome in the office because we were just putting out fires, discipline issues all day long. Some days, Amy and I both were sitting in our office dealing with discipline issues. So we use that information to come up with the expectations. And we also had Jen Fletcher come in, and she met with our teachers several times with our PBIS leadership team. These were just a couple examples. How you act when you go to the restroom, you got to use your smart pass. You have to respect other people's privacy. You should only be in the restrooms for its intended purpose. And then, of course, when you go to the gym. Right here is just a quick look at what we have created for the teachers to help them. On the left side, you're going to see these are the things that are teacher managed in the classroom, and then these are the things that are office managed. Of course, everything focusing on safety first and foremost. If you have a kid, that you really need removed, of course we're going to do that. And then we have the observation sheet where students, it's kind of like a 3 strikes you're out, but when teachers are working with those students in the classroom, and let's just say they keep blurting out, calling out today in class, and you've redirected them, and then the next day they're kind of doing the same thing. So the teacher has to sit down with them and discuss, hey, these are the behaviors I'm seeing, this is my expectation from you, and I want you to know that we've discussed this. So the teacher talks with the student, and they actually sign on that yeah, I spoke with Mrs. Frame, and I'm going to do better. But now, after 30 days, this would go away. Okay, so we're not keeping tabs. Well, we got messed up in August, and then in April, we're going back to it. No, after 30 days, it's a clean slate. But then after they get to 3, that's when you get an office referral. So that's really helped. We attended PD in June with the PBIS team, and then again in August. And at our open house this year, families were given an overview of our PBIS program and what the expectations were. Teachers did begin implementation on the very first day of school. So they worked probably the first 2 weeks at least. Every class period coming in, when you walk in, this is what I expect from you. And so it was every day, every day, every day. When the kids would come into the cafeteria, we were in the cafeteria. When you walk in, this is how we expect you to sit down. This is how we expect you to get in line. And at first I thought, is that too elementary for our kids? It's really not. They need to know. I need to know as an adult what you expect from me. They definitely need to know as middle schoolers what we expect from them. So we started that implementation on day 1, and the expectations were taught. It wasn't easy. It was a very big way changing how we think, but it's making things easier. I'm not saying that we've nipped every issue, every behavior, but we have decreased the amount of problems and interruptions that we're having in our instructional day. So that has been a huge focus. And we felt like to get to where we really need to focus on our test scores, that we had to take care of those little things that were really interrupting the instructional day. Because you can have one kid and you'll lose a kid for 30 minutes, or lose a classroom for 30 minutes. And so we wanted to really tie that down. Our PBIS team, we meet monthly still to get feedback from the teachers about what's working, what do we need to change. Jen Fletcher's been really good about, I can send her a text and say, hey, how would you handle this? And she gets that information back to us. So PBIS for us has been a really positive change. This has been in your monthly board report, but we are down here at the bottom. This is our 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. Our 6th grade ELA, we were just one bump above the state, which was 44. 7th grade, we are pretty far below, and in 8th grade as well. And in math, you can see that across here. We are below the state average in math as well. And so within our daily, our instructional day, we are meeting regularly with our PLCs, and I'm doing that by content. And we do that in the mornings. So we usually start by 7:15. So I'll meet with the ELA department one day, math, science, and social studies, and we break that up. And we meet at 7:15. The teachers come in a little bit early, and we meet from 7:15 till about 8 o'clock. And that's where we're going over strategies within the class, looking at our test scores, looking at our data, and they are working together on specific skill sets and things like that. Another big piece that we just did back in November, we did the test authoring training, and our math, English, and science teachers were involved in that. And it was really good for them to learn to go in and create their own exams from the state site that actually uses test questions from GSA. And one big thing that a couple of my teachers recognized, they went in and picked specific standards. And I have one teacher say to me, "Oh, that's the way they asked that on that test. I'm teaching it this way, but I really need to go more in depth, to a deeper depth of knowledge with this particular standard." And so the feedback that I got from them was it was good to see the way they're asking those questions on that test to help guide their instruction. We're doing Drop Everything and Read weekly. We also have AA time that's focused on what students need in particular each day. We have Mr. Jarvis. He is our graduation coach, Bernie Jarvis, and he's meeting with students each week. He's working on things that they need as well, skill sets, things like that, but also kids who are falling behind homework, they've been absent, he's pulling them in and working with them. Also, we were able to add sections of Project Lead the Way this year, so we're able to reach more students in that program. In 6th grade, we only had one group of 6th graders last year, but this year we have divided it up and we're doing 2 groups in 6th grade, and we've also added a couple 7th grade sections and 8th grade sections. So we were able to divide that up to be more students there. Focusing on small group instruction and also deconstructing standards. Again, kind of looking back at that test authoring, just to make sure that we're reaching the depth of knowledge that they need for students to be proficient, to fully understand what they're learning. And then another thing that we've added this year that we've changed, our counselors we're going more of a proactive approach to some of the social emotional things in our building instead of just being reactive. So the counselors are in the classroom 3 periods a day. So they divide that up, and so with our wellness semester, then we have art, and then they also have like a career exploration piece, and that's where the counselors, they will meet all the students, get to know them better. So that's been very beneficial, especially on some of those things like character ed, and just talking to the kids regularly about how to treat each other and how we should act, but then also looking at careers and goal setting and why that's important. Another big thing that we did this year, we started our PTO, and we've been meeting monthly, and it's been super successful. We have over 30 parents involved in our PTO, and this is the first time we've had a PTO since I've been here, so it's really exciting. It's taken a lot off of my plate, things that I used to try to manage that I didn't do so well. because of time constraints. But they're coming in, they're meeting monthly. They pack our weekly backpacks home with food. They've been volunteering to be chaperones at dances. Our homecoming dance was so smooth and easy this year. They were concession. They also organized Thanksgiving meals for 25 families in need. So we're really excited to be able to do that this year. They are supporting us in our PBIS efforts. Each 9 weeks, we have an incentive, and it is, no office referrals. You have at least a C in your class, and you have your attendance. You have good attendance, and so they come in and they're helping us manage those incentive activities. The first 9 weeks, we're doing ice cream social. The second 9 weeks, we're going to the movies. And so the PTO, they've already lined up our popcorn for us, and they're going to be at the theater to help us get the kids in and out. They're helping us with staff recognitions, our pumpkin drop, our Christmas around the world, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in the end. They're getting involved in asking how can we help you academically within the school and outside of the school. What can we do to support what the teachers are doing in the classroom? And they are encouraging family involvement. So we're really pleased with them. Some celebrations we have a decrease in our office referrals. We're super excited that we have some consistent expectations. When the kids walk in, they know what to do. We remind them often after a break. When they came back this week, the teachers reminded them, okay, don't forget these are your expectations. We are seeing a shift now, really focusing on our standards with instruction, with posting those objectives. Most of the teachers are using IPN statements in their rooms to refer to that. Increasing parent involvement, improved attendance, and we have walls on our new school. So we're super pumped about that. That's huge. And moving forward, when we're thinking about where we need to go as far as increasing growth, transition to middle school is something that we really need to work on with our 5th graders coming into 6th grade and then our 8th grade going to 9th grade. There are a lot of changes there, and I don't think that we are addressing those needs adequately. So that's one thing I've been working with the PTO and also the Lsic as well. What can we do to make a smoother transition and let the kids understand what changes they'll be seeing. For me, within my building, we have a few teachers who are young, and we have some that came to us doing alternative certification. So I really think that we need more professional development focused on standard-based instruction and deconstructing those standards to truly understand what they mean, those verbs in those standards. Do the kids understand what that means? When you're looking at test scores and you're reading, the data, do the kids understand what they're supposed to be learning? And do the teachers truly understand what the standard means and what all that means to include during instruction? More intensive PD for beginning teachers and those teachers seeking alternative certification, and just, I'd like to have more time for PLCs, but we're making them. So we use those PL days as much as we can to include that. But right now, our PLCs, we're getting in 40 to 45 minutes every other week, so that's helpful. And then the last thing is just our Christmas Around the World is on Monday, and it's from 5 to 7. And the kids have been working on this for about a month now, with different little projects going on. But all of the teachers, they chose a country, and they are researching the country and learning about Christmas traditions, cultures, things like that. They've been decorating the school. We filled, I think our final number was 44 Christmas boxes for Operation Christmas Child. And so our homerooms filled those boxes, and we had some moms come in and help us and get those delivered to the church. We're also doing the peanut butter jelly drive will start this week that the kids are collecting to send to the local food pantry. And then on Monday, when the parents come in, they're going to get to see
how they've decorated the school, and they'll go into the classroom, and they'll get to see everything they learned about the particular country that they're studying. So it's very busy right now at the school. It's a little lit up, and the kids are super excited, but we hope you can come out for that. We're also going to have some community partners will be there that night. The PTO is in charge of reaching out to some of the businesses and the community resources, and they're going to come into the cafeteria and they're going to set up and be available to talk to parents and families. Liz Bragg's going to be there, and she's going to have some drawings that night for some of the families with the attendance incentives and things like that. So Mr. and Mrs. Claus will be there. Here we come to that.
I really like being emphasis on PTO. I mean, it is really hard to get parents involved in middle school and high school.
It
And
is.
so I applaud you for putting that effort out there and get 30 people, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and we generally have, we have 30 people signed up, and at each meeting, we've had 10 to 15 in attendance. A couple of times it's been different, but then we're also setting up teams, so the parents that work are able to log into the teams and be a part of the team meeting, or the PTO meeting, even if they're not present. So it has been very helpful. And just realizing all the things that you think parents should know, but they don't, about what you're doing in the school. Just putting it on Facebook doesn't always,
It works well face to face.
exactly. And so they don't really understand, some of them, the importance of why we were doing things. They didn't really understand the full level of our focus. So that's been really nice. Yeah. And it's so nice, if I need something, I make one phone call, and within 30 minutes, it's ready to go. So.
This is more of a statement than a question. I don't want to be on the spot to get elementary school to elementary school too. But in that transition from elementary school to middle school, or even middle school, high school, especially elementary or whatever, you might think about some type of communication with the student PTO or whatever with the, and maybe I'll do it, with the elementary school. The elementary school principals and teachers can really help get those kids ready for that transition. And you don't want to just meet the meet, but if you, and it'd be interesting data-wise and stuff, when we put in a spot, are certain grade schools adapting better than other grade schools coming in? And if they are, what can you mirror from that, or what can you use for that? Because that transition is a big transition. I know that summer thing you have, which is pretty good, the kids can come in and go through the school, I forget what it's called.
Well, we had, not Boost, elementary was Boost. We were sold, yeah, but we don't have that. Which that was really nice. We had it 2 years, and so the fifth graders did come to us, and we had, I think we kept about 30 to 40 kids, and that really helped.
And when they showed up for school, they've already
They've
got
already
some kind of
familiar
idea
with it.
for your school and stuff like that.
Right.
That first few weeks of transition can make or break a kid, really. I mean, their first impression of school, things go smoothly, or they don't go smoothly, and they don't know where to go, and
Right.
But
And there's a big chance when they come to us too that, you know, if they come from Mount Lookout or Mount Nebo, a smaller school, or Zela, you know, they may be put in a class and they don't have one friend in that class. But there's not a way for me to know always that, you know, this kid, could you pair them up? But most of the principals are really good about sending me a list saying, hey, if you could do, you know, with needs specific. But sometimes, you know, if you have a quiet kid, they fly under the radar, you don't realize that they go the entire day and they're not in one class with one of their friends. So that can be hard on them.
Maybe you can, in the spring, remind the elementary principals that serve your school.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
and I know that's a busy time for everybody.
Well, and anytime I've called, and because with some of the Project Lead the Way for sixth grade, I rely on the elementary principals to send me information because we're limited seating in that. So, you know, I get names from the fifth grade, so they're pretty good about sending me that information. So that's one big thing that we noticed was we need to make sure that we're getting those kids in one or two classes with one of their their buddies. So they're not so isolated. Because that first day, when they walk in the cafeteria, and they're suddenly in lunch with 160 kids, and they used to go to lunch with, just a smaller group.
Some of those kids need to be separated from each other.
Well, sometimes I get those
I've had
emails
those
too.
kids, I know all about it.
Yeah, yeah.
The program you talking about that you had for a couple of years and don't have it anymore, what was that, Soul? Did you call it?
So, yeah,
How expensive a program was that? And how did it go?
that was federally funded, and that was some COVID money.
It was.
I don't remember, I want to say our budget each year was like 30,000.
She's looking at me, so I was at the board office with Sarah
Yeah.
at the time when that was going on, and yeah, we had a program in every single school but 2, and they were partnered up with other schools, so
Yeah.
elementary, middle, like, everybody had something that year. And it made a big difference, because I was at the middle school many times that summer, and you could just see the relaxed look on those kids' faces. It was really a big help, it really was.
And it really, we had some students who would attend that it put their parents at ease, students with disabilities, that the parents are very nervous about the change to a bigger school, but it just relaxed them coming in and being able to see how we operate.
$30,000 you said. Is that just
I-
for your school or is
that-
that countywide?
You'd have to ask Dr. Lee that question, because I just
Yeah.
implemented some of it, I didn't deal with the budget side of that, so I can't answer that.
I just
But-
I'll ask
remember,
that question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. But it was,
Yeah.
I would say, it was definitely worth that. I know a lot of it was state, because we had to give, like, they didn't give us a benchmark. The state handed the money and said, go forth. And it was a last minute thing, I do remember that. So we didn't have a pre-test to go by, and I had to pull data all summer trying to figure out, was it worth it or not? But even just hearing this, it was worth it, because it took the fear factor out for those kids.
My grandkids participated in it. I mean, it was all ranges and stuff. It was good for, I don't care how secure you think you are, or if you're an A student or a C student or whatever.
Right.
That's a big transition. And, yeah, I'm glad there's communication between the middle school and elementary school.
yeah, we just need to
And I
find a
think
way for them to spend more time with us in our building. Because our move-up days generally, I have all the kids come through in it's like an hour and a half, and part of that is coverage. But they need to spend more time in the building.
One thing, Christine, I know we do the 1-day move-up day, and I know most principals probably would like you're nuts to think this, but I think it would almost be good to do it once a 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Like for the 5th grade, so that they're seeing that same person. I don't know if that's even plausible, but that way it's just not one day.
Right.
I know we have some things in the works, and a hurricane that came through kind of messed up. We're trying to do some things where our kids are interacting with each other, so that they're not just my school or her school,
Yeah.
But
And even
more
if we could
frequently.
create some way, like to have a mentorship where, the 6th graders somehow be paired with an incoming, 5th grader, so that they could meet someone new, but then also kind of just be their buddy, be their pal, be their mentor about, hey, they have questions about middle school, just so they know someone.
If you think about it, in 2 years, a lot of your problems will hopefully,
Yeah.
because you're at the new school, a lot of your kids are coming from Somerville Elementary.
Right.
So they're going to be familiar with the,
Yeah, which that'll be very helpful.
that'll be huge.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, what time's your lunch?
Well, I pushed it back a half an hour, so about 11. We got about 10 minutes.
So we need to help you.
No, we're,
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Berry makes a motion to adjourn, seconded by Mr. Ferguson. All in favor? Aye.